Hey everyone, my name is Paul Flores and I'm here today to talk to you about Chang-Rae Lee. Now, interesting enough, for my graduate class, my seminar in literature, we were talking about Chang-Rae Lee and I wasn't feeling a few things, so I want to discuss that here in my vlog. I want to welcome you guys here to our very first video. You're going to see a lot of my Pomeranians here in the background. We actually started the Ink and Code about a year ago, Robbie Ines and I, who's also co-founder. Things to know about me: I am a short story fanboy. My favorite, and this is going to sound incredibly cliche, but is Joan Didion's Goodbye to All That. Joan Didion's Goodbye to All That, when I was an undergrad, I just dreamt of being in New York, and I thought, like, oh my god, how could this girl be talking about leaving New York? And, well, here I am at 30, and I can understand some of the points there. My first book, Hunger Games, came out in December. It was an e-only title from Riverdale Avenue Books, but in the last month, look what I have, a print copy. That's right, a print copy of The Hunger Games by my pen name, Nathan Alexander. It's available now on Amazon.com. Alright, so just a little bit more on me. I used to work in book publishing. I was a publishing manager at Allison Books, which was a small LGBT press in Chelsea. I'm currently getting my MFA in fiction at the New School. So I want to talk about Chang-Rae Lee. I think he's a phenomenal writer. Stories are important. I think everything that he puts out is actually well written. I read Native Speaker while I was still in high school. I'm first generation Cuban American. It was just a really important read. One of the things he does so well is that he was able to tackle these issues of being a minority in America. And that's not easy. And, you know, in 1992, I believe, is when Coming Home Again was published. It was a new landscape, and there was a lot there that needed to be said. He was instrumental in helping minorities build an identity in literature. So we had to read Coming Home Again for my literary seminar class, and it was well received by everyone. My professor loves it. She said she teaches it not as American literature, and I can understand that. There's a lot of reference to Korean food. Kalbi plays a pivotal role in the story. It's a lot about him growing up as a Korean American. So before I hate on it, I want to talk about the things I really did like about it. It's smart in the way it uses food as a literary device to examine familial relationships. A key example of this is with his mother making the kalbi. He's watching his mom make the kalbi, and it's symbolic of his relationship with her. Not only what happens in the essay, but stuff that happened outside the essay. She has the line, "The meat needs the bone nearby," she said, "to borrow its richness." I mean, that's obviously just incredibly symbolic of a mother-son relationship. I also love the first line where it reads, "When my mother began using the electronic pump that fed her liquids and medication, we moved her to the family room." Now, we didn't really talk about this in my class, but I thought, I mean, the title of the essay is called Coming Home Again. And obviously, that in that first line, we already know there's something wrong with his family. We already know it's not the way it used to be. The ending was also really good because it kind of framed the entire story. It also ended with this idea of his parents being sexual beings, that they were something apart from their son. Alright, so what I didn't like. I didn't like that the essay, again, and I understand that in 1992, employing a retrospective voice was extremely unheard of, and everyone was really excited on the literary scene because you do get that mature voice throughout the essay, this kind of look back. Oh, by the way, this is my dog, Apollo. And you get this look back onto his years growing up with his mother, mature voice where he's looking back at the situation these last few days with his mother. But that's what really irks me, actually, that the only reason why he's examining this relationship with his mother is because she's dying. This is a woman who was extremely selfless to him. She gave up everything for him. She, you know, was painted as a saint, but we don't really get to know who the mother was. It's incredible to write these essays about someone who's passed away because you get to see a beginning, middle, and end to their life. When you examine someone with the lens of grief, you don't really get to know who they are. James Baldwin, in Notes of a Native Son, really captures his father. And it's not a pretty picture. There's a lot of stuff that's unpretty about the mother that we just, as readers, aren't privy to. It's not that he doesn't allude to it. Scene where she comes to visit him when he's at his prep school, and he would rather go off to a barbecue than have her food. And we know that later on she starts crying, and the father has to pull the car over to try to calm her down. So there's a lot there that's going on. And to his credit, he really does plant those seeds within the story, but they're just not fleshed out enough. Maybe the story should be longer. Maybe there should be more there. But I want it more. I think it sends out an anti-feminist message. This is a mother who spent her entire life raising her son, building up the father. And once he's old enough to take over the household, because most of the story is about him trying to replicate the way she cooks, she's dying. So the son knows how to cook. He inherits his mother's skill, and that's it. Her duty is done. She was a mother. Now that her son's raised, she has no other merit as a character, and now she passes away. It does show masculinity in a very tender and soft light, the fact that he inherits his mother's responsibilities. But I also don't think I worry about the mother as a character. Alright, so you guys don't have to agree with me if you didn't like my review of Chang-Rae Lee's Coming Home Again. But there's a lot here, obviously, that we can work with and we can talk about. We're going to have so much more short story reviews here on the Ink and Code, a lot more videos, a lot more content. But one thing that we always want is for you, our readers and fellow writers, to submit something to us directly. Robbie and I go through the email, we carefully evaluate every story, and we want to publish you. So please submit, look at our guidelines. We're more than happy to take anything. Oh, and from this day forth, you guys will be known as decoders.